Yeah. And then we've got Gerald Celente, where he's coming out with the absolute facts about what he has predicted before, which he's been absolutely right on. And now he's talking strictly about food. We're in the 5th year of that worldwide famine, Alex, that you and I have talked about regularly.
We got people not just buying the treasuries now, they're dumping their treasuries.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the fact is that Celente has come out very strongly with regard to exactly what is going to solve the individual family's problem. We can't do much about all this New World Order stuff except be aware of it and adjust for it. But the solution that we have, there's only one. It's got to be food. You know, right now, in fact, in Celente's last article that we were reading here at the office just the other day, the dependency on food is so absolute that the true freedom fighters right now have a food supply. That's the way you fight it. You fight for your freedom with food, and that's why we've come up with this holiday thing. I think everyone that knows about us realizes that every time during the holiday season we come up with the best shot we can at getting the most food into as many family homes as possible. And looking at the financial structure that we've got in the economy right now, this last one is probably the best we've ever done, Alex, but because it's absolutely needed. What we've done is we've taken the 12-month food supply and broken it down so that you can get it in 6-month supplies, but if you buy 2 of them, the shipping is free, and you also save $260 in addition to the savings on the shipping cost.
Yeah, you've offered free shipping before, which I've never seen any other company do, because for those that don't know, one of the biggest expenses is the shipping, because food is heavy. This is a lot of food. But then to add a discount on the food as well. And folks, the reason you go with eFoods Direct, number one, they're the biggest, the longest continually operating. Others claim that they've been operating longer. I've done the research. It's not the case. This is new food. It's high quality. You know you can trust it. This is where I get my storable food. It's a great price. They're great sponsors of the freedom movement for decades. The J. Michael Stevens Group, eFoodsDirect.com. Steve Schenck, the owner, is with us. I hope you take advantage of this. And I'm going to be honest with you. I've got family, you know, who is struggling over the years. I've bought them year supplies of food, because that's where I invest, is in my family. Or whether it's a month supply. They've got a lot of other 6-month specials, you name it. But again, Steve, give folks the specific special you're offering for the holidays and how long you're going to be offering it.
This is a 6-month supply. We've also got 2 other supplies that they can look up on the Internet. By the way, on the Internet, it's efoodsdirect.com/Alex. efoodsdirect.com/Alex. For those of you that aren't all that computer savvy, get on 800-409-5633, 800-409-5633, and if you put together 2 of these specials, the shipping is absolutely free, but on each one of them you've got $260 savings, which is just absolutely remarkable. So very simply what we've done, Alex, is try and get the very most of the very best food out for the very least, so that people, a lot of folks, we did a special during the Black Friday thing, and we were absolutely amazed at the number of people that are saying, heck with this thing, we're putting our Christmas money into something that can really mean something for us in the coming months.
You know, I was out in my garage this morning and looking at my storable food, the attic's full of food. I've got a 3-year supply for my whole family. And then I went in and checked my guns in the gun safe, and even did a little oiling this morning. And I only do that a few times a year, but the point is, just my instinct told me, go look at your food, go look at your guns. And it's not that I live in fear. I'm like the ant who prepares for the winter, not the grasshopper. It's that as a man and as a steward of my family and my community, I need to be prepared and not be dependent on others. That is the first thing I'm to do. The Bible says that. And anybody who's got half a brain knows you need God, guns, guts, food, you know, your bullets, your beans, your Bibles. It's very, very simple. And this food lasts more than 10 years in climate controlled, 10 years. I do things like After I've got food that's getting to be 6, 7 years old, I give it to the food bank, or I start eating it, or I take it to the deer camp. Or, 'cause a lot of this food's really tasty and good, even from companies years ago I got it from before I knew about eFoods Direct. But the last 3 waves, in the last 4 years, I bought from the J. Michael Stevens Group, efoodsdirect.com, because they've got the highest quality. Some of the other companies that, you'll see MSG, or it'll have fillers, or it's, from China or whatever. The government MREs, not trustworthy. There's some good companies out there that produce them. But when you go to efoodsdirect.com, it's high quality. Briefly, tell folks about, you got a wide spectrum of food, gourmet, prepackaged, the raw foods. You got a bunch of different things you offer.
Well, basically, the whole idea is that if people are going to bet their lives on what they put into their food savings account, they've got to have everything. You've got the bulk items, the dehydrated foods that are the mainstay.
You've got the Nutriversal soups and chilies and breads that have the vitamins in them.
Yep, absolutely, and they're prepared. So most of the prepared items are so easy. The design was based on the fact that a 10-year-old can prepare every one of those prepared meals. And so the fact is that you will not find better tasting food. And what's happening is that people are able to save it, and they can use it. A lot of people right now, with the economy the way it is, we've got hundreds, virtually thousands of people that are using this food on a regular basis to supplement their budget.
Well, yeah, you warned them years ago, buy the food before the dollar devalues more, then you have that saving later, because this is really tasty food. eFoods Direct, the letter E, foodsdirect.com. Give them the toll-free number.
800-409-5633. That's 800-409-5633.
Or efoodsdirect.com. Well, Steve, I can't think of more important work than what you're doing, and your support of this broadcast as well. You are the place to get food that people can really trust and depend on. And I don't have to tell people that in the Great Depression, major universities have estimated over the 10 years, 7 million people died from illnesses related to malnutrition and starvation. That's with about 89 to 90%, depending on the study, of people being agrarian or living on the farm or near a farm. Now we're right at 90% urban. Only half of the 10% that live on farms are self-sufficient. With the type of depression that's unfolding, prepare for, the worst. I'm hoping for the best. But it's important, ladies and gentlemen, to get storable food, efoodsdirect.com. And again, Steve, in closing, that number one more time. The offer is, one more time, tell folks the specific offer on the free shipping and the discount. Okay, it's a 6-month supply that we've put together. And if they put 2 of them together, it's free shipping, but there's a total savings of $260 right out of the chute on that. And as far as the call, 800-409-5633, and on the net, efoodsdirect.com/Alex. Alex, I sure appreciate your help. Well, Steve, we sure appreciate you coming on the broadcast with us. God bless you. There goes Steve Shank of efoodsdirect.com. I wouldn't procrastinate if I was you, ladies and gentlemen. If you end up not needing this food, you can eat your investment. It's insurance you can eat. But the way this world's going, it's important to be self-sufficient. Now, I want to, for the next 30 minutes or so, talk to John Young, the editor and one of the key founders of Cryptome.org. It's been around since 1996 by independent scholars, and the architect John Young and others. And the New York Observer had an article that quoted myself, the original WikiLeaker, and it's got my quote in here, and I think it says it all, that his work is very important, said Alex Jones, the radio host and founder of Infowars.com. I don't really know of anybody who was posting secret, classified, and restricted, but also open source documents to a site and creating a library. And they cut my quote off there. I went on to say, before Cryptome. You have to say that he is the granddaddy of the WikiLeaks type phenomenon, and he was also knows some of the WikiLeakers and has had a critical view of Assange in the past. But now with all of this unfolding, we'll get John Young's breakdown on what he thinks is going on here. John, thanks for joining us.
Hello, Alex. Good to hear from you.
Good to have you here with us. We're going to break in a moment, but I have always stated that I believe Assange was being set up as a unwitting or perhaps witting asset of the CIA, like a Lee Harvey Oswald. We know there's the George Soros, Leslie Gelb, all of those connections there. And Wayne Madsen has agreed with you that it's suspicious. So has Webster Tarpley. Now it appears that they're going to use this as an electronic 9/11, and they're announcing to come in and start shutting down web freedom on the internet.
Yeah, that's the kind of talk they're making. Now, I just say that I think they'd like to keep this going about another 10 years, so they can keep asking for more money for it. So that I think they'll keep making these rumbling noises and hope that WikiLeaks or others like it will continue doing this thing, because it's a tremendous way to raise funds for governments.
Again, they get to build their giant cybersecurity spying grids in the name of countering their own leakers.
That's right, and that's why they set up Cybercom, almost holding the hands of WikiLeaks to do so.
Amazing. Well, I mean, when we look at this, these women that set him up, one of them is absolutely, in Cuba running CIA ops. I mean, this is really... What do you think of Assange? Do you agree they're setting him up as the fall guy?
It's possible. Often people are set up with their not being completely witting about it, and it's not hard to do because there's a constant drumbeat of we need to challenge authority, we need to challenge the CIA, we need to do this and that, and so this is a fairly well-known way to get some traction for a website or an initiative and to raise some money through it. And so the allegation of having sexual affairs is usually a component of that.
Well, they claim that about Daniel Ellsberg. Stay there. Segment coming up. We'll continue to get into your overall view of the history of WikiLeaks, who's behind it, what's really happening with Julian Assange, these massive hack attacks against Sweden and MasterCard and Visa. John Young of Cryptome.org is our guest. He knows a lot about at least the founding and of WikiLeaks and some of the people involved. But it's on record that Cass Sunstein, who said that they would basically sabotage the web by posing as freedom fighters and leakers, really introduced WikiLeaks to the world in 2007 in an editorial in the Washington Post that he wrote. So it's pretty much admitted this is a CIA group. As Mr. Young said on this show over a year ago and predicted much of what's now unfolded, if you're going to have $1 trillion war in Afghanistan or Iraq, you got to go stage some terror attacks, fund the opposition. If you're going to have an excuse to take over the web and spy on everybody, you've got to finance some leaks. And you see the media, the way they supported it, the way they always hype it up. But I think, again, Assange is a useful dupe that they're flushing down the toilet. But time will tell. I mean, specifically, John, walk through what you believe is happening here, the founding of WikiLeaks, where you think this is going. John, give us your view on the statements I just made. He must have lost our audio. I can hear him typing. That happens with phones sometimes. John Young, can you hear me? All right, we'll call him back.
I'm here.
Okay, John, go through your original concerns about WikiLeaks.
Well, as you know, Alex, I was sucker punched into serving as a public face of WikiLeaks because they didn't want any of them to be named in the registration of the website. So I did it because I've done it for others.